I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have an amazing guest. She is an incredible writer, comedian, actress, and podcaster. She created the TV show Difficult People, written on shows like Schmigadoon, and co-hosts a podcast called Double Threat. You know her for a lot of things, but you might not know that she is a humongous Cats fan, and I'm excited to have her on for that reason. So welcome, Julie Klausner. Thank you for joining me.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I love that you just said that you were born Jellicle, ready to talk about this. So this is, I'm so excited because I'm familiar with your work, but a lot of times I'm always just like, I didn't realize this person was a huge Cats fan. And so it's so fun to learn this. And I know that you've interacted with the Cats social media team, who's the one who told me to reach out. So, and here we are today. So let's start at the beginning. When were you introduced to the show? Like, when did your Cats fandom start?
It was the first Broadway show I ever went to, and it is probably responsible for my personality because when you're a nascent human and you are taken to some kind of experience that's just so overwhelming, and I mean, even adults who had seen shows before would have agreed, especially, during its time at the Winter Garden and its original run. I'm, fortunate enough to have grown up in the New York City area. Even adults would have agreed that it was immersive and overwhelming in its own right. I was extremely young, like 5 or something like that, and seeing Cats was one of my first memories, not just theater memories, just memories, period. The pun memory, we'll put aside, we'll pretend I didn't say that. But I have a very, very distinctive, sensory recollection of being on the aisle and having one of the actors interact with me, and one of the cats reached over and touched my hand, and I looked down and I saw that she was wearing an arm warmer and she had chipped orange nail polish. And I remember in that moment thinking, oh my God, this is a cool girl.
Yeah.
And I'm also having this amazing experience. So it was very, very formative and very intense. And then the rest of the show, I was talking about this with my dad recently. He just said, your jaw was on the floor.
Yeah. So you were young enough, and you were really young, that all of the craziness of the show goes over your head. You're just in the immersive theater experience at the Winter Garden.
Does it go over your head, or does it just go right into your face? Is it just when you're hungry and you eat sugar and you're just here we are?
I think there's some very dark plot points, and I've always kind of wondered why it's such a kids friendly show, because it just, you don't grasp the plot points because it just is over your head. I saw it as a adult, and I'm like, this seems a little strange. This seems pretty sexual. This seems but I would have never noticed that as a 5-year-old, but I noticed it in my 30s.
I think that the emotion is universal, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ascension is universal. The uplift of that. I think the sexuality, to me, I probably was projecting in the same way that you play with dolls.
Yeah.
And it was probably very, very fascinating, and children are in their bodies so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I also really loved cats. I love the animals. So that was also very, very wonderful. But the plot points that went, I'll never understand the peaks and the pollicles. It's that whole section, whether it's Growl Tiger's Last Stand, that whole section, I think is that's a pee break if you have to take one, whether you're 6 or 60.
Yeah.
But I think I got the gist of it. I think I was able to just be sort of like bombarded by the magic.
Mm-hmm. So you got to experience the green eyes where they come in and are in your face and touching you. Did you go on stage at intermission to meet old Deuteronomy?
I don't remember. I'll have to ask my folks. I wonder if I did. I saw the revival a few years ago, and I didn't go on stage. But I did go on stage during the intermission for Parade, and I pet Ben Platt, which was really, really the ushers did not like that at all.
That was a very old Deuteronomy moment. And
it was
the first thing I said when I was there. I was like, he's in jail and he's sitting up there. I was like, this is some old Deuteronomy just pondering his life.
Very much so, yeah.
So you've seen it. You saw it as a 5-year-old. You saw the revival. I mean, if it's very formative, obviously a fan. How frequently, have you been able to go and see the show multiple times, or is it just something that is kind of like a fun theater moment from you because it was your first show?
I like the DVD a lot.
Okay.
I like the live recording from '99. But I haven't. I was very, very disappointed that I missed this last tour. I was actually looking into getting tickets to see the West Coast leg because I know they were in Hawaii in June, and I thought
they closed in Hawaii.
Spending June in Hawaii seeing Cats sounds real nice, but I unfortunately did not pull that together.
Yeah, I got to meet them and film with them and do some work with them in DC because I'm in New York and it was an easy little train ride down.
Yeah,
but I kept saying they're going to finish in Hawaii. Like, what an amazing way to kind of close your show. Yeah,
that's the way to go. And then then you go right to the Heaviside Layer.
Yeah. What a work trip too, I was like, that sounds pretty awesome.
It looked like a fabulous cast. I really enjoyed everything I saw online from the tour, and hopefully there'll be another tour because it is now and forever. That show's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. There'll be another tour. It'll happen regionally.
It'll outlive us all.
It's still on Royal Caribbean, I think, right now. If you want to cruise, if you want to get on a cruise and see a 90-minute version. And then it's overseas. I think the
is it in Japan?
Tour.
Isn't it always in Japan? The way that Starlight Express is always in Germany.
Yeah,
for some reason the Axis powers really like Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, that's so true. I think I saw it was in Italy. It's kind of been all over.
Why did I?
Yeah, if you search hard, you can go find a great vacation spot and see the show with it.
Got it. I'm waiting for the next incarnation because I'm in desperate need of I got to see those cats live.
So I want to hear a little bit about your thoughts on the plot before we get into its influence on your life and work. You see it at an early age. You watch the DVD. How would you, if you have a friend who doesn't know cats at all, and they're going to come with you, and you're going to take them to Hawaii. Next time they're on tour in Hawaii, how are you telling them what they're going to see?
I think it's a review. I think it's hair. I think structurally it's a series of vignettes in the same way that I think it's important for people to know that they were based on poetry, and that it's a sung through piece like everything Sir Andy does. But I think that basically what people need to know in terms of the story, and we'll say story, not plot, but because I do think there is one, and I have a bunch of pet peeves around the show. One of which is people saying there's no story. The other of which is just lousy jokes.
All right, we'll come back to the pet peeves. I want to cover. I want to cover them all.
Great. But I would just say that it is a show where cats introduce themselves and are sort of auditioning for the chance to be resurrected. And at the end, one ascends to their version of heaven and gets to have another shot at it.
Mm-hmm. I love I like the going back to the poems. It is a strange thing because and this is the world you live in. I come from a fan of sitcoms, and I did not get a sitcom plot. And I think that's kind of a very challenging piece for a lot of people, or like myself, where if you expect that type of plot, you are not going to get it. But if you go in expecting the opposite of that, or just a little bit of we're going to introduce a bunch of people, we're going to have a loose overarching kind of theme, and then you're going to get a little bit of a confrontation, action, climax, and then the moment, and then obviously the the booming Heaviside or memory, and then the Heaviside Layer. But you don't get a line, B line, neat and tidy, bringing it together close like you do in a 22-minute sitcom.
No, there's definitely the only, it's not really a conflict, it's a competition, but there is a villain to some extent with the cavity and like a running kind of like a, you know, chaotic figure. But I saw that they were doing a ballroom version of it, and I thought that's absolutely brilliant because that is, you know, structurally ideal. It is a pageant in a way, but it's also, you know, it's portraiture more than anything else, right?
Yeah.
This is it sort of, you know, portraits of different characters, and then you know what the podcast is about, like who kind of earns the right to let the memory live again.
Definitely. Yeah, the ballroom is going to be really interesting because they're making, they're actually not even fully putting them in cat costumes. Like it's an interpretation of it, which should be really cool. Did you see Leona Lewis in 2016?
I did.
So that was my frame of reference too, is I thought it was the X Factor.
Yeah,
like, it's a very similar style.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
To that.
Yeah.
And so that was, I really think the genesis of this podcast and a lot of the jokes I made originally stemmed from seeing her. Like, I don't know if I would have walked out of the theater if she wasn't there thinking X Factor, if it wasn't for her and her performance, which was incredible.
Fabulous. She made me cry.
Yeah.
She was beautiful.
So I kind of love that. What other plot, like when you think about the formative pieces of your youth from seeing this, like what do you remember from the plot of the takeaways of like, oh, this was my favorite moments of the show?
I remember being a little girl and being really happy Grizabella got to win.
Oh no, this isn't going to be good for the rest of the show.
That's okay. No, that was just little Julie. I loved, you know, I like everybody else in the 80s loved that song, and she was definitely like, she was my favorite, and then at some point Jenny Anydots took over.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And Jenny Anydots became my favorite. But it was funny because I was also enchanted with a chorus line very soon after that. That was the other show from my childhood, non-Sondheim show from my childhood that was very, very like impactful, you know, having grown up in the 80s. Those two shows were, you know, to say they were like smash hits is like such an understatement, especially early 80s. Mid and later is like more like Les Mis. And anyway, the chorus line, you also kind of like picked a favorite, and then I remember being pissed every time Sheila didn't make it.
Yeah.
Sheila was so cool.
There's some similarities too, right? Like it's a little bit of overlap. So I love that you like the shows where it's just line everybody up and then one person's going to get selected.
Exactly. But in dance, it doesn't help if you're like cranky and beaten up, apparently.
Yeah. That's true. Have you seen Six? Six has got a little bit of the same vibe.
I have not, but that's an interesting, I've seen Nine.
Yeah.
9 is like Six in a way.
Yeah. Six has the same competition style.
Got it.
Theme,
okay.
So
it's a good structure.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, again, it gives you a lot of opportunity. You get a lot of different characters and you can kind of build.
You get to feel like you're playing sports, which as theater folks, it's always exhilarating to be like, oh, I need some Gatorade.
Yeah, exactly. What about like, was there a moment from, because like as a writer, like did this help formulate a little bit of like your writing style and perspective, or is it just something that was just like a big moment from you as a child from like informative years?
It's a wonderful question. I think there are probably turns of phrase that have stuck with me, but it's absolutely a masterclass in creating emotion. I think that this is a heart, not head piece. You're in your body. The dancers are in their body. This is a dance musical. It's sort of the opposite of like a heady kind of kind of piece. Like in fact, it's strange as someone who is as verbal as I am and someone who appreciates great writing as much as I do to look forward to the Jellicle Ball the most, because it's it's just like a solid 10 minutes of the most athletic dancing you've ever seen, but the music is so exciting, and perhaps there's something about getting a break from the verbal part of my brain that sort of helps me enjoy it more.
Yeah, that's so interesting to think about it from that perspective of like, because I had a similar moment of where when I saw the show the first time, I kept trying to remember, why did I only remember Mungo, Jerry, and Rumple Teaser and McCavity? And then I pieced it together as I saw it later, is because there's so much going on in the ball and during the opening number and during so many of the numbers that those are some of the only moments where you only have like a cat or two on stage.
Yes.
And you get like this like break of the sensory overload and just get to focus on the two. And so I kind of love...
And Mistopheles too. Mistopheles is, he definitely... Also, like, they repeat his name, I think, more than anyone else. He gets the entrance and the chorus, and then there's another chorus. And it's one of those, like, in Drowsy Chaperone, I Am Aldolfo, like one of those, but like with the cat.
Yeah, they definitely repeat the names frequently.
Oh, yeah.
For every single cat.
Listen, repetition has always served Sir Andy very well.
Yeah,
and if there's something that's juicy enough, like as a hook, then bring it on.
Yeah, he has a little history of putting his stuff and touch on all the stuff. I think you saw some Bad Cinderella had some Jellicle moments, I thought, at least musically, compared to some others, which was fun for me as someone who's like still kind of early in knowing anything about theater to be able to be like, oh, I recognize some of that music. That definitely has the sound that that I'm used to from him.
Well, I'm thrilled that as someone who's new to theater, Bad Cinderella has not turned you off to theater completely.
I think if you went in with the right mindset, it was a very fun time.
Yes, they say the same thing about LSD.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that would have helped make Bad Cinderella.
Could have made it a
for
lot
some
worse.
People. But yeah, I think I'm a big fan of that. There's a place in art for everybody, and so it's like that show did not land for a lot of people, but there was a group that around me that was having fun. Yeah,
it's a weird time right now. I don't think anybody would disagree.
So I want to. You mentioned your pet peeves and gripes with the show, or with fandom of the show.
Yeah,
let's air some of these out.
I think there have been a lot of lousy jokes, but at the same time, there's a lot of lousy jokes about anything that's super famous. I mean, there's a million lousy jokes about Trump. There's a million lousy jokes about anything that people want to take on. What I think is unfair about the lousy jokes around cats is just that A, it's easy, and B, like, there are things that are so much worse. It's almost like I was talking this week on, I do this podcast Double Threat with my friend Tom Sharpling, and we were talking about Ed Wood and just how I had watched Plan 9 from Outer Space and thought this was considered the worst movie ever. I've seen movies that are so much worse. This at least has first of all, it's short. It has a point of view. It's weird enough to be interesting. There are parts of it that are really funny. There are parts of it that are genuinely beautiful. And I guess when it comes to cats, I mean, there was a lot of backlash. I know it was a phenomenon. I know it was a merch phenomenon. But then I also just think about, the American, like there's some things that bum me out about, American disdain for like things like performance art or stuff that's a little too queer or a little too theatrical. And I'm defensive of those things because those are some of my favorite things.
Yeah, it is an easy punchline because the names are weird.
Yeah,
it's different from everything else. They are humans dressed as cats, acting like cats, but with very human storylines. So it is just far enough off the beaten path to be an easy joke.
Absolutely.
And I think I've seen some like really dumb ones. I've seen some also like really funny ones where I'm like, oh, I like the interpretation of it. Like Modern Family when they get he goes on his tugger and sings Memory and then he gets stuck in a tree and that's the punchline, that's the cat being stuck in a tree. Like I think some of that's fun because it's respectful of the art but also using it as a vehicle. And I've seen some others that aren't as great.
Yes. The Get a Life episode Zoo Animals on Wheels is sort of like the gold standard to some extent.
Yeah.
But it also, like the audience participation stuff was definitely like people have every reason to be annoyed by that. And I think the sexuality of it was a little overwhelming to people.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's not like most of their stuff that you'll ever see, and even in theater, like it's still not a ton like it. And then to your point, it's been running for 42 years. Like it's been around, so the success makes it like it's a well-known name. People will like, even when I saw the revival, the reason I ended up with tickets is I asked my friend. I said, I don't know a lot about theater. I moved to New York. What like classics of these like things that I will have at least heard of?
Yes.
Am I not seeing? Like not the new stuff or like the cool, unique things. Like give me the Phantom, the Les Mis, and it was Cat, and it was that was in that list. And I'm like, yeah, I know Memory. I don't know much about the rest, but at least everyone knows some of it. And I've yet to meet someone who can give me a thoughtful reason of why they don't like it. I get a lot of people that say they don't like it, and they're just like, oh, it wasn't for me. But nobody has given me like a critical, real reason of like their dislike for the show.
Well, it gives people the ick because it's very, very theatery, and if you don't like theater, you're doomed because it's very theatrical. But I would also remind you with the like now and forever of it all, and it being a phenomenon. I mean, think about actual cats. Think about how successful that species is. More people have cats than they have dogs. And there's a reason for that. They stick around. Like they're not going anywhere. They're very, very, very successful as a species. And so is this show. And it's universal in a way that is, not attached to any nation or language or age. And that's extremely powerful.
Yeah, I never thought about it from that angle of like, there's no dogs. There's not a dog show. There's no,
they pretend to be dogs at one point, which is really funny.
They do pretend to be dogs with like shoe cartons
Kleenex
as their
boxes,
hats. And yeah. There's again, there's some moments. They pretend to be cockroaches at one point too.
That's terrific. Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died. So I want to pivot a little bit to like the influence of the rest of your work. Like knowing that this show, like I've saw some of the tie-dye t-shirts you've done, and like how has Cats kind of worked into either things you've done where you've been a writer or other things you've kind of just done on your personal life or even in your podcast?
Well, I went to art school, so I'm a visual person, and so I would say that Cats has definitely influenced me aesthetically because there's simply nothing else like it, and I do respect that the costume and makeup design to this day still pays homage to Hot Gossip, which is the dance troupe, and also just like Ziggy Stardust era Bowie and that like late 70s, early 80s leg warmers, arm warmers, those fabulous yak hair wigs. I mean, those are like aesthetically, it is just such a powerhouse in a way that not as many shows, and the set is so iconic, so that's just incredibly impactful to me. And then like I would be lying if I didn't have like, if I said that there wasn't like, I know what's ridiculous about the show. Like I know that the characters have ridiculous names. I know that it's extremely silly and that there are things about it that are like stupid or childish. I am just an integrated enough person to be able to appreciate those things as well as be able to laugh at them at the same time. So I guess it's a way of, I guess I do that instead of accepting myself as a young person. I think I accept the things I liked as a young person instead of accepting myself as a young person.
I love that. Have you for one challenge I have as someone who now has a show is I'll see a new Broadway show or I'll see something on TV and I'll be like, oh, here's the cat. Like, this is what that cat would be. Here's like the cat's version of that. As someone who wrote on SNL and created a TV show and has wrote on Schmigadoon, which is theater based, how much Cats like have you tried to bring into that world, or have you thought about like, oh, this is where this could fit into a skit, or this was where Cats could be a punchline or a frame of reference for that?
Well, I didn't write on SNL. I wrote on a couple of TV Funhouse shorts that were on shorts, SNL. Yeah. There is an episode of Difficult People called #Cats, and the show is featured in it. but it's not really a plot point as much as it was just sort of like a destination for our characters to attend. And then for Schmigadoon, the first 2 seasons were not set in that era.
Yeah.
So there was no cats to be pitched, but it's constantly on my mind, and I will bring it into anything that I do ever.
Yeah.
It's the last thing I do.
It's my Schmigadoon season 3 dream is that we get an 80s setting and we get cats and all the other fun of that.
Well, let's hope the AMPTP joins in on your dream.
Yes, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
What other cats, like this is all cats podcast. You got all cats fans here. Like, what other pieces haven't we covered that you wanna that you would want to make sure we cover from
I like talking about what kind of cat, what people who actually have cats. I always ask them which cat they most remind them of from the show, if they're familiar with the show, because as challenging as it is to divorce the personality from the appearance, I try to encourage people to do it, but then I see myself not being able to do it because I have a tuxedo cat, and he's shyer than Mr. Mistopheles, but ultimately, like, he's Mr. Mistopheles. Like, he just is.
It just looks like him.
He just is.
Is he got a little Bustifer? Because Bustifer's got kind of a similar look, but
he's not Bustifer.
Okay.
He's not that food motivated, and he's also not that fancy. Like, he's kind of like he's like a tall, skinny guy from Queens.
Okay.
And he does like appear sometimes like somewhat magic, and he's magical to me. But my cat before Jimmy Jazz was Smiley Muffin, and she was Jenny Any Dots, just absolutely no question whatsoever. And I mean, I think that was part of why I mean, they say that they choose you, but like, you choose them. Like,
yeah,
you're the one filling out the application.
Yeah. I had 2 cats growing up, and one was kind of a orange tabby cat, and I think has a little Skimbleshanks look. But not a Skimbleshanks vibe.
Well, that's exactly it. It's hard to differentiate the two, because she kind of did look like Jenny Any Dots, and she had that personality. But Jimmy, I feel like, I don't know if who's the shyest cat, and
I don't know about shy. It's probably one of the twins, because they're like very they kind of see around the corner type of
right.
Like, they know everything that's happening, but because of that, you don't see them pop up. It's probably one of the kittens would be one of the shyer ones.
Aww.
You got some rambunctious kittens, and then you've got, I think, a couple on the shyer side. Like, a Victoria has a shy-ish feel.
Yes, but he's a boy, so it has to be and he's not old enough to be Gus yet.
Yeah, he's not. That's good. Not quite there.
Not quite there, and he's not he's not Monku Strap, because he like, if people come over, like, he'll either hide, hiss, or just like be in the corner, and just he's not interested in like hosting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that is the Mistopheles though, then, because Mistopheles, I could see being magical also could hide.
He does. He disappears sometimes.
Yeah.
And then when he does come in, it's always a presto moment for me, at least. So I've got a Mistopheles, and I had a Jenny Any.
Did you consider naming them one of the cat's characters?
No. They both came with those names. I added Jazz, but his name was Jimmy. It's hard to, when you adopt, it's hard to choose the names.
No,
you have to like alter them, or else just celebrate them.
Yeah. So if you were going to get a new cat, not named, or maybe adopted,
or an additional cat, and ruin Jimmy's life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it depends on who. Yeah. I mean, if it's Mistopheles, you could add Tugger. They'd be friends. Like, but who would you? What cat
Tugger
personality?
Be the worst. I think that Jimmy would only do well with like a little Kinton. I think he would, maybe 2 Kintons, like that he would juggle them as like I'd tell him they were props for his magic act.
Okay.
That's the only way he would, because I did bring in one cat once who looked just like Skimbleshanks, Skimbleshanks?
Skimbleshanks, yeah.
He looked just like Skimbleshanks if like Skimbleshanks was like malnourished and just like, but really, really long hair. And he was like a Norwegian forest cat. And Jimmy thought I was bringing him like a snack before dinner. He was like, "Oh my God, this is so nice of you, Mom. Like, I really appreciate
that's some Bustifer vibes right there."
I know, but he would because he wanted to fight. He wanted to fight and kill. So
no, yeah, that's not Bustifer.
And he does knock things off of. There is a little bit of macavity, I think, in every cat.
I wonder if Plato is kind of the prince. Maybe that's the shyness of it.
Oh, that's interesting. Let me look at Plato for.
Plato's the other half of Macavity, so it's usually the same actor.
Oh,
and they're as Plato more often than they are Macavity. Macavity is actually not in the show all that much, but one of their terms, because they get 3 words, and one of the words is princely, I believe.
Oh, yeah, he could definitely be Plato. Yeah, I can see that. He's an easygoing, says he's a quiet and laid back who prefers to stay in the background. Oh, yeah, that's a great, you're really going to want to read that on the casting board.
Yeah. Well, that's why you get Macavity too. You get to play the alter ego
That's
as well.
true. That's true. There's 2 cats in all of us. And he does kind of look like Plato, although he looks more like, I mean, he is a star. So let's be honest here.
He's Mistopheles, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
I love it. Let's do a little rapid fire from the show.
Okay,
so,
please.
If you could go and perform as one of the cats for one night, forget if you sing, dance, just male, female, whatever, just you want to go on one night, who are you going to go perform as?
Well, definitely Jenny Anydots, but I'll just say Jelly Lorem for kick. Just because I love her costume so much. But I definitely, I know that like if I could dance better than I can, which is not very well, I would be a wonderful Jenny Anydots. If somebody was willing to like work with me and teach me how to
can you tap dance? Yeah.
Yes, I would be terrific in that role. But I do see Jelly Lorem and I think, oh gosh, that would be really cool to wear that and look like that. That would be fun. And Jelly Lorem sings she's like one of the Macavity gals.
Yeah. No, that's Demeter and Bombalurina.
Aren't there 3?
The 3 are, I think, in the Tugger. So let me reframe this. I only know
It's Jemima.
I only know 2016's production. So I only know the Andy Blankenbuehler newer stuff. And I've seen a little bit of the 1998 movie just because it's what's out there and what's on YouTube.
Yes.
So I know that Demeter and Bombalurina sing Macavity as like a duet.
Got it. Okay. So there's not a third girl. Jemima is so Jemima's like
been
one of the
renamed.
Kintons. Okay.
I forget what Jemima's new name is. Syllabub, yeah. Because Jemima
got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And so it looks like Bombalurina is so who's the one who sings with Gus? Is that Jelly Lorem?
That's Jelly Lorem, yeah.
Got it. Then I'm just gonna be honest and I'm just gonna say Jenny Anydots. I'm the old Gumby cat. That's just I even look like her. I mean, it makes perfect sense for me.
Who are I think you've already said this, your favorite is Jenny, but who are your favorite and least favorite characters from the musical?
I'd say my least favorite, let me think. I mean, my least favorite part is like the whole Growl Tiger's Last Stand or the Rumpus. I don't like the Rumpus cat. That's my answer. I don't like the Rumpus cat.
Yeah, that part's also, I don't think, in the new version. Growl Tiger's Last Stand isn't in the new version.
Right. They replaced it with the peaks and the pollicles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't like the peaks or the pollicles. I especially don't like Rumpus Cat because Rumpus Cat's like not like he's a kind of robotic, right? He's not exactly organic. He's almost like a steampunk like. I'm like, is this cats or what?
Yeah. Yeah, the peaks of the pollicles is kind of a weird like piece. I never really understood, even as I've like gotten to know the show, I don't really follow where it fits in the story. Like it doesn't really fit nearly as much as like, it's like we needed a break, but we got enough other little breaks. Like I understood Jenny's teaching the mice and the cockroaches. Like, but it fits her story. But, when it was the part of Gus's story with Growl Tigers, like I at least understood that. Peaks and Pollicles still
Right.
doesn't fit for me anywhere.
Yeah, and I mean it is funny that they're making fun of dogs. That is
Yeah.
wonderful, but they are putting on a play within a play. It definitely seems like if the Jellicle Ball is like a house party or something, like there
It's
is
supposed to be an
part,
orgy.
Sure. Yeah, I mean you say tomato. There is a part of any party where you're just like, you guys want to play charades?
Yeah.
I think that when they put that play on, but I think the audience knows too that it's like, are you guys just killing time? Because
Exactly. And that's where, again, there's with the loose story arc, I at least followed the okay, I'm meeting this cat, I'm meeting this cat. Why am I watching West Side Story in the middle of the show?
Because it varies the pace of it. But if the song were catchier, you wouldn't mind, frankly. No disrespect to Sir Andy.
That's true. I also think it's probably a break for the dancers because they go nonstop. Let's slow it down for a second. Let them catch their breath.
Superhuman.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, I mean, the ball is, I think it's 10 or 11 minutes straight.
I love it. I love it.
It's
I love
insane.
The ball.
What a feat of athleticism.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I've watched it many times on YouTube with the sections labeled, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, they all names. I didn't, because again, as someone who doesn't know anything about dance, I'm like, what is this piece called?
Oh, I love learning about things that I will never be able to do.
Yeah, same, exactly. What's your favorite song from the show?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me look at the breakdown just so I don't forget anything. I'm gonna look at my playlist just so. I mean, it might very well be the Jellicle Ball.
The ball, yeah, the music from the ball.
Yeah, the Jellicle Ball, the overture.
Yeah, the overture is a great answer because it's I've been asked the question of does it have to be a song? I'm like, well, that's look at Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, and look at the cast album, and that is a song. And it's so well known. You hear it, and you're kind of oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for the show. I love
the overture because it's a little scary and it's very exciting and it sets the scene, and it also doesn't do what other overtures do. What other overtures do, which is play a little bit from each song. It doesn't do that. It just sort of is mood setting. So I love that, and I do love the Mungo Jerry and Rumple teaser kind of waltz tempo as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of different musical styles mixed in. The Stimbleshanks is super fast and McCavity's kind of ominous, and there's it's a very well crafted kind of piece where you get all those different styles.
Yes, not quite like Joseph, which is literally just every song is in a different style, but he was absolutely had his eye to variety.
So before we get to the $1 million question,
yes.
My fun one was, if you were going to write a show centered around one of the cats, who would you want to be your vehicle? Which cat would you want to start your story with?
Oh, that's fascinating. Like a Wednesday show, Oh my gosh! I mean, I think it's tempting to choose a lesser known one because that way you can make up more.
Well, there's some fandoms that have thought about every angle of the show, so there's some stuff out there for almost everybody. But yeah, I guess you're given less written word from the poems.
I mean, I can see a world in which I can do I could do something set in the 80s where Cassandra plays a fashion designer, a really she runs a modeling agency and she's just kind of like a Grace Jones, just powerful femme, who hires and fires people.
Yeah.
That would be really fun, but I don't want to forsake what's cuddly, and I also want my I want my large kings represented. So I would be curious to know what old Deuteronomy was like when he was younger, like if he was like Pugsley's age, or Bustopher Jones, like maybe he's a food critic. I know, Sir Andy had a column once where he would review restaurants. Maybe Bustopher Jones had a similar backstory. So those are three possibilities off the top of my head. But when the strike is over, if someone's like, we want to build a show around literally any of these cats, as long as it's not friggin', I don't know, Tumble Brutus. No, I'll do Tumble Brutus.
Yeah, I love that. You're just like, I'll do
Tumble Brutus.
It's so interesting that because so many of the things you just said is how I've answered. I've asked this question of who would be a TikTok influencer.
Okay.
And like in what style. And all the answers you gave have been my answers for TikTok influencers.
Oh, fabulous.
Like, let's do the modeling and we'll have this like dance number, or Bustopher, I think, is cooking in his kitchen. And
yes.
So I love that you can.
Well, Bustopher, I don't think cooks. I think he just judges other people's.
Yeah.
Like Mike, if my cat could cook, he would not. Like he likes being served. I think Bustopher does too. Like he wears spats to go everywhere. Like he's not showing like
he's the critic. He's the food critic.
I would not want to see a Skimble Shanks show. I think that is to me a little too Starlight Express. Like I think covers the train stuff to some extent. Yeah. That's the only show I probably wouldn't want to. I mean, would I want to work on? Yes, I would. Of course, work on, but you know what I mean. Not my number one. Yeah,
but you're going to try to rewrite it with some other cats instead.
Absolutely, it'll be it won't be a train. It'll be like one of those cat buses from that anime movie I liked.
Well, let me ask you the reverse question. If you could insert any other cat from like fictional world into the cat's universe, who would you want to insert?
Oh, do you know Bagpuss?
Do not know Bagpuss.
British, Irish. Do you know Bagpuss? Or
no, I don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Google Bagpuss. He's adorable. He's pink and white. And he's terrific.
Oh, I know. I do know who this is. I've seen the pictures.
He was on a stop motion television show from, I believe, the 70s or 80s.
I think he's been memed a lot
in the UK.
He could be.
I mean, he's absolutely stunning, and it's one of the slowest shows ever. I don't know if children growing up in the UK just had better attention spans back then, but he could use a little bit of 5, 6, 7, 8. I think.
Okay, what's like his backstory for this number? Like, what would be his song? Like, what would the song be about for the Jellicles?
I mean, maybe just about how everyone should just like slow down.
Yeah. It's kind of like a Gus storyteller vibe, but not as old, like a younger Gus.
Just kind of like stop and smell the roses. And like, if you look at a sunbeam, there's a lot of dust.
Yeah.
That's like going around in it. And isn't that interesting? And why does everything have to be like bam, bam, bam? And
I love it. Well, you wouldn't have to rename. Bagpuss fits the rest of the names. Like,
well, they all have like 75 names to come up with, you know.
I love it. Okay, so the most important question I ask everybody, and the genesis of this podcast is I don't think Grizabella is the right Jellicle choice, and I have many arguments of why. I have the funny and the real, but I want to know if you are putting on your old Deuteronomy hat and you are making your Jellicle choice, who are you picking and why?
Grizabella, obviously. You're insane. What's going on over there? Why do you not think she's the worthy? Of course she is.
Give me your, like what is the reason for it?
Seen it all. It's as a woman, when you are a certain age, you are useless and you are thrown away to garbage. No one sees you. You're invisible. She had this devastating backstory. She was like little Edie, basically, or big Edie, or both Edies. And the other cats are mean to her, and it's hard to see that. And then she gets this song, and the song is the argument, because the song, when it modulates, goes up an octave, and all of a sudden you're crying and you don't know why. And the answer is because something is that beautiful, it makes you feel something that doesn't make sense, because it goes past your brain right into your heart, in the way that when you have like an IV of ketamine, say, it doesn't go through your stomach. It just goes right into your bloodstream. So I feel, and it is about feeling, it's not about thinking, that because of ultimately this is about, not just backstory, but performance, and their songs are their prayers, because her prayer is the most beautiful, she gets to ascend, and she seems like she could really use another chance.
So I it's hard to argue against because the thing you just said that's hard for me to argue against is that it's not your brain, it's your heart.
Yeah.
And I do think if you kind of take it from that moment, like, it is a powerful song, it's an emotional song. Like, I can't imagine doing it 8 times a week of like belting that out and having that.
Well, she doesn't have to dance, so it's she's just
true. She's only on the show for 15 minutes.
She'd be backstage with some throat coat and
But I think the part that, like, from my head is that if you want to take the redemption arc story, which is what this is a redemption story of her returning to her family and being reaccepted. I really struggle with the idea of, we have just brought you back to our cultish tribe and now we're going to kill you, versus let me spend a year with the family and you go next year.
But they're killing her. They're just they're resurrecting her. They're giving her another chance.
Yeah, I think that it's a new lease on life, but it would be you're not going to get that Grizabella. Like, you're going to get a Victoria. Like, Victoria is, a lot of people think she was last year's choice, and that's why she's being brought back.
Right.
But you're not bringing back, like, Mom to
Isn't
a lot
she
of
the first one who touches Grizz too?
It's either her, Cassandra, maybe, or no, Syllabub, like one of them.
Either Syllabub or Victoria. Cassandra's not touching anything.
Yeah, sorry. I think it's Syllabub.
Line of cocaine in between meals.
So I think, like, that's the part I struggle with, and I think it mostly stems to
is that she's leaving. Is that in theory you're like, we accept you, now you're dead.
Now you're gone. Instead of saying, like, wow, I'm so excited to have this family member back that we have banished and, like, really treated poorly. We're now accepting her. And I get the giving her the reward, but I'm like, let's send Gus this year. Then you spend a year with your family, you go next year.
So would it make you feel better if after she ascended, she comes back with, like, a makeover and she's like, hey, let's dance?
I think about it from
and then they do a Jellicle ball.
Yeah, I guess I actually would prefer that over the current ending. I'm not a huge fan of the current ending.
What, the addressing of cats?
The addressing of cats, yeah.
A cat is a dog.
I get the lyrics, although I think it's because the 2019 movie really freaked me out with it.
I am devastated that you even mentioned it, and I was waiting for it to come up. Like, we could call it the shoe that dropped.
Yeah,
right? Both shoes at once, and they stink. I'm so depressed that you brought it up.
I think
we weren't going to have to talk about it.
I didn't ask you about it.
I acknowledge that. I'm impressed that you went this long, or that we went this long.
The show stemmed because, like, the show exists because of the movie. Like, that's what drummed up my joke in the first place, and that's what started the parody of it.
Well, something good came out of it then.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, like, I do think I had seen the stage musical, and I think a lot of people who see that movie haven't. And to me, it's like, it's night and day difference.
It's a Shonda.
Yeah, but so if I go back to Grizabella, like, I think about it as like a family member that you have, like, excommunicated, and then all of a sudden you're now saying, you know what, we're going to be back. Like, let's restart this relationship, and we're going to bring you back in. But then you're immediately, so I guess it depends on your definition of what the reborn is.
That's precisely it. And that was what I was going to say, which is I think you and I have different ideas about what the Heaviside Layer is. Mm-hmm. I think it's a transition. I don't think it's a destination. I don't think it's heaven. I think it's a spiritual a transition. Like I said, like I think that I'm not very well versed in New Testament, but I do feel like it's, that it's like Easter, like she's going to the memory's going to live again, right? She's going to also that bitch, she sang for her supper. Like, she went into that family reunion with a goal, and she won. Like, she got what she was saying. I mean, it's almost like going in and saying, like, I'm really sick and I need to be able to afford this cure, and then everyone rallying around and saying, "Here, we all chipped in."
I agree. I agree with that, but I feel like then doesn't Gus need the same thing? Like, is Gus making it next year? Like, we got 2 worthy candidates.
Well, maybe he should have thought of that before he sang his song.
Yeah, just it's too
Before
boring.
he was like, no, it wasn't. But also, it like transitioned into just like, and now we go to this play I was in.
Yeah.
That was like a real snooze for all involved. Listen, Gus is a heartbreaking example of a life well lived. I mean, Gus doesn't seem to have he doesn't have like the same kind of I want, I need, I regret. You're not pummeled with these feelings of injustice around him. It's sad when people get old, but when he looks back, his memories, so to speak, are really fortifying and beautiful, and hers are devastating, and they're couched with commentary around who'd have ever thought that was Grizabella the glamour cat. I mean, how many actresses do we hear people say that about when they're running an unflattering photo of them and they've had bad work? Like, anyone goes in and asks for bad work, just happens.
Yeah.
Just because Jane Fonda didn't get that one doesn't mean that, that she's a better person.
So let me ask you this question then. If you're old Deuteronomy, is your criteria change every year? Like, or you're going to have an exiled family member come back next year too?
I think she's more than an exiled family member. I think that she is someone who has been subject to things that maybe she didn't deserve.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that
But
Grizz
who's next year? Like, how does he make that choice next year?
I think it's in his heart. I think it's just something he knows.
Different.
He's wise. He just feels it, and he's spiritual. So it's like a priest. Like, you don't question at a certain point. He's like a judge, and you're just like, ultimately, you're a more educated person than I am. But I will say the other thing that Grizz represents, which is really important, because I do want to keep bringing you back to like actual cats and people who love really real cats. Grizz represents like finding a stray, or finding a senior cat, or finding a cat that was harmed. I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
Thinking about, how worthwhile and meaningful it is to spend your life taking care of an animal who had not had a past that befitted her majesty and what she was entitled to, which is love and kindness and adulation. So for Grizz to come on and be down on her luck and raggedy, and you could just sort of see it on her face and her body language that she wasn't treated well. To me, as a cat owner, and who's adopted rescues, that is the redemption that we are searching for with our experiences with our pets. So I absolutely think, Deuteronomy sees that, and it's like placing a needy animal in a loving home in a way.
Yeah.
So maybe the Heaviside Layer is her forever home.
Yeah, I think that's the crux of the difference. Is I viewed it as murder, and you're viewing it as a much more
like a rescue,
like a much more positive. Like, it's not, it's either, my jokes were always that it does feel very murderish, because it's like, you're gonna be reborn.
Murdering her. It's like, think about, he's sending her to the hot springs.
Yeah, she's sending she's gonna go to the farm where
there's no farm. She's gonna go to Canyon Ranch for a couple weeks, then she's gonna come back and she's looking amazing.
I like the theory that the Heaviside Layer is just a spot up in the rafters of the Winter Garden, and so she's gonna go there. I think we have a lot of similar takes on this, with just one key difference that makes all the decision different.
Yes.
But to be fair, my original joke is that I thought it was X Factor on drugs, and if I'm choosing from the X Factor standpoint, I'm putting Tugger and Mistopheles together as one direction. I'm sending them together.
Well, you've got your producer hat on, and
Yeah, that's the story. It's fun. You get like whose song did I enjoy the most?
Maybe, but memory, I mean, a star is a star, and she's that song. She has that song for a reason, and that is the song that like T.S. Eliot did not write the lyrics to. It was inspired, but Andy had to like Andy went through a few different people to figure that one out, and then Barbara recorded it, and oh my god.
I do have the producer hat on because I'm always like, yeah, she'd be a really good package. You know, you tell the story about how she left the family and then she's coming back and then she comes out and sings Memory. It would be hard to beat that.
You need a star. I mean, you need a star. Like even now when they tour or when they brought it back to Broadway, like you really only need one star to do that show. It's an ensemble show, except for Grizz. You need a
you need a very powerful
Leona
voice.
Or Betty Buckley or
yeah. Well, this has been so fun. I didn't change your mind, but that's okay. I've got time.
What about Deuteronomy? What he could? Do you think he could choose himself?
I think eventually he has to go, right? Like because they portray Monkish Trap as next in line. So if you take
that is absurd. Monkish Trap is at the please. He's like 28.
You don't think he's that? So I guess the question is when.
He just Monkish Trap just got a promotion.
Yeah,
he's doing fine.
So if old Deuteronomy leaves, then who's taking over?
He's not leaving. This is the thing. He's not leaving. He's coming back. This is the whole thing. The Heaviside Layer. I'm not saying it's a revolving door, but it is not like it is the grave. They wouldn't be competing. If you think this is a show about cats like singing and dancing so they get youth.
I think that they come back as like a young new. It's not like you're coming back as Grizabella Part 2. You're coming back as another cat. Like you're coming back
but she's still her. That's why do you think they have so many? Why do you think they have so many names?
Yeah, I guess that's our biggest difference. Is I viewed it as such a different.
It is.
I think I reviewed it very literal, which is like we're gonna send them off. They're gonna be reborn, and we're gonna get a whole new.
The reborn is the important part because otherwise it's like Wicker Man.
Yeah. Well, it's like a serial killer, which is a theory of old Deuteronomy.
Then why are they all singing and dancing, begging to be murdered? Then that doesn't make any sense.
It's a weird show. It's a weird show to begin with.
I agree, it's a weird show, but that cannot be the premise.
I love
it too.
This is why it exists. Is that these arguments can happen.
Yes.
And there's a lot of hot takes on the show. So
absolutely.
I'm just trying to add to that with my. My goal. I will say Grizabella does not even have half the votes of this podcast. So when I don't know track,
I don't know.
It's mostly Gus.
I think you are poisoning people with your ideas about.
That's my goal. That's my goal. Is to slowly change.
Being some sort of like weird electric chair or something.
My dream is to do an Edwin Drew style show, a regional show where a different cat goes every
different
night.
Ending every time.
Yeah. No, you still do Memory. Well, she deserves her song.
Oh, I was gonna say because good luck finding a song that's gonna make people cry like that.
No, you do Memory, but then instead of the receiving line of like who goes, and you pick somebody to go up on the tire.
After you sing Memory, are you crazy? You're gonna have to write songs that are as powerful as, and I'm not saying good, I'm saying powerful as Memory.
No, I still want Memory to be the showstopper.
Then she has to go to the Heaviside Layer if she's gonna the show. What else is that besides the standing ovation? What else is that besides the reward for stopping the show?
We'll see. It'll take some workshopping, I'm sure. If I can convince anybody, let me do it. Which nobody should, because I have zero ability to do any other part of the show. I couldn't choreography. Can't write any of the other stuff. I can't sing. I can't dance. I just have one opinion on this, and that's it. But clearly, we have a slight tweak in differences of the Heaviside Layer.
It's going to be like a week before you start sending audience members up there to like ride the tire, and then it'll become an amusement park ride. It'll just be called Ride the Tire.
I asked to go up to the Heaviside Layer and the tire, and I was not allowed. There's some safety concerns. This has been so fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
How can people stay in touch, find you on social media?
It's just my name on social media, on Instagram. And I'm not calling it X because I just can't do that. Nah. But I'm around. You'll find me if you need me.
Yeah. Well, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for coming on. And
thank you so much for having me.
And thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at The Wrong Cat Died, or check out our website, thewrongcatdied.com.